Like the transfer of Joshua Zirkzee to Manchester United is moving in the right direction where every one of you really wants it to be, because as we speak right about now, Man United is ready to trigger the Zirkzee clause of £34 million. That is obviously the gateway for him from Bologna to the club of Manchester United. And Sir Jim Ratcliffe has finally gone ahead and obviously spoken out on how on why they went ahead obviously keep Erik Ten Hag in here. And lastly, there is something I really want to rant on. Southgate has gone ahead to make out a statement after England drew with the side of Denmark by 1-1, and he was like, they don't have a player who is like Calvin Phillips. And I was like, oh man, you're really having one of the best players that are even better than Calvin Phillips, and you're not obviously bringing him on. And that's why I've always gone ahead to let you know that I never wanted Southgate to come near Manchester United, because when you look at the crop of talent that he's really having at the national team and he cannot beat Denmark, it shows you how this guy is incompetent for any job in the world, provided it is responsible of organizing what we call talented players. We thank God for the gift of life. The Muslim is Barakallahu Fikum, and we are here to see to it that all goes on well. We know that Friday is going to be Juma Kareem, and for the Christians, we cover you all in the precious blood of Jesus Christ. And we're here to obviously get you to the next level of where we are supposed to be. Now, let's obviously start it off with a story that came in through earlier from Italy, obviously giving United more chances to sign Joshua Zirkzee. They've told us that it's known as Corriere dello Sport, that AC Milan have lost the advantage in the race to sign Joshua Zirkzee and are now exploring alternative targets. Now, that shows you that Man United have gone here to put in what we call the other gear that AC Milan cannot put in. And you know, that gear is all about Manchester United. It's all about the agent fees. It's all about the brand of Manchester United and what it means for Keane, the agent of Joshua Zirkzee, to see to it that he comes in through and signs for the club of Manchester United. I've come out and spoken about that hugely in here onto the United Matters channel yesterday, and I think I don't need to repeat myself, right? Because if you really conduct this deal to see that your player goes to that side, there are very many chances of him really getting or turning into a herring and turning into what we call Erling Haaland. And you know, Erling Haaland right now, Man City are proposing a deal of him to be earning £500,000. And because Keane, the agent of this guy known as Joshua Zirkzee, trusts him and trusts the talent of the player, it looks like he's like taking him to AC Milan. I would rather take him to Manchester United. He can really battle it out with Rasmus Højlund, because at Manchester United, all those are really young players, and Joshua Zirkzee is a more experienced striker than the man known as Rasmus Højlund. Though Rasmus scored 16 goals last season, he needs a player with a better experience. This guy has been at Bayern Munich. He has now played at Bologna. Coming to Manchester United, I know he knows the traits of how big teams really handle themselves, and that's why I would like to let you know that I'm excited about that news that AC Milan have gone hit to lose advantage, because the agent wanted them to pay £12 million, and he's willing to obviously take a pay cut for the club of Manchester United onto what we call those agent fees. Now, let's go to the other biggest story that has gone hit to land as far as Joshua Zirkzee is really concerned. This is Telegraph Dhaka. He's a United correspondent for the Telegraph, and when he speaks, you get to know that he has gone ahead to get in news from a credible source. He has told us that Man United are preparing to trigger Joshua Zirkzee's £34 million release clause. United are in talks with Zirkzee's camp, and while they maintain they have other options as well, there is serious interest in bringing the Dutchman to Old Trafford. Now, if we don't have serious interest to get in Joshua Zirkzee, then who can we get in at that price? When you look at the quality of Joshua Zirkzee, it's really enough. And it's very promising that he can turn into a monster of a striker. And it takes me back to how Sir Alex Ferguson had to be having the partnership of Dwight York and the core. When you look at their age bracket, they're almost the same. Look at Teddy Sheringham and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. You understand? They came in through and built partnerships that went ahead, obviously, put Man United up in the sky as triumphing is concerned in the game of football. So, if United are willing to trigger this clause of Joshua Zirkzee, that is news for me because I'm over the moon. I tell you, I'm over the moon, and I would love them to do it before the end of this week. I would love us to hear that the Dutch national team has gone ahead to obviously allow Joshua Zirkzee to conduct his medical at Manchester United and then return to the camp. I would love to hear that. I would love to hear that, guys. I would like to hear it echo into my ears. Don't you want to hear it? Because as it stands, he might have been coming through as our first transfer signing. £34 million. That is an absolute bargain for the club of Manchester United. And I would love to obviously see to it that we get him in. And the fact that we are now in the leading position of this transfer and the agent is excited to see to it that the player comes to Manchester United. The player is excited, and I know Erik Ten Hag has already gone ahead to talk to this player. I told you this deal will obviously accelerate in a nick of time because Erik Ten Hag is now the confirmed manager of the club of Manchester United. He's Dutch, and he'll be like, I need that player and get him in. He's really going to be so much pivotal to the club of Manchester United. That is Joshua Zirkzee. And it reached an extent when United is nowhere near the talk of this guy. And it was Arsenal, Chelsea, AC Milan, and for the long period of time we've gone ahead to know this deal. Fabrizio has told us that AC Milan has been working on this deal since December of 2023, and they've put in a lot of work to agree everything with the player known as Joshua Zirkzee because they knew to it that Olivier Giroud is not going to be part of their team next season and went ahead to sign for an MLS club. So they were like, we need to get in a replacement of this guy, but as it stands, they've gone ahead to looking for alternatives because Man United have gone ahead to come in through to obviously see to it that they go into the way. And the other factor that will convince, or that has gone ahead to convince Joshua Zirkzee to obviously get into the club of Manchester United is the deliberate intent for Erik Ten Hag to play young stars. Rasmus Højlund came into the age of 20, and Erik Ten Hag put him direct into the team, and the rest is history. You know, he scored 16 goals, and Ten Hag is like, we are going to be playing in Europe, we are going to be playing into the Premier League, FA Cup and Carabao Cup, you are going to get enough playing time. And we've gone ahead to suffer lots of times with Man United having only one striker. You know, ever since Erik Ten Hag came in through, when he trusted Antoine Martial, he got injured, and the other striker was supposed to be Ronaldo, and Ronaldo left, and they failed to obviously get us a striker that could obviously play into that area. And Weghorst came in through and did a very good job, but we missed having two strikers competing for one another, because if one striker is injured and one is present, there is a little bit of complacency into his display on the field of play because of how that guy, or that singly available centre forward, is really reluctant that he has no competition. But if you're having Rasmus Højlund available and Zirkzee available, you obviously get to know that it's not going to be an easy call for Erik Ten Hag. He'll only go in for the fit striker to go in and really do the job. And when you look at Joshua Zirkzee, he's this kind of guy who wants to obviously get into who wants to get himself involved into play. You know, however much Rasmus Højlund likes it a lot, but if you want to get the best of Rasmus Højlund, a quick pass through the channels, you know, does the best to him because he's a clinical finisher. One-on-one, he has always gone ahead to describe that as his signature finish. That is it. That his trump card or trademark finish. If you remember the goal he scored against the side of Galatasaray, the second one, where he ran just 2-3 feet past the half line, and then you remember those two goals, one is scored against Newcastle and one is scored against Brighton. That is the signature goal scoring of this guy, because he knows to it that when I take off the first defender and there is space, I burst into space, shoot with my weak foot into the back of the net. That is Rasmus Højlund for you. So as it stands for us here, I believe United should even do it now. let's trigger this, let's trigger it, and after triggering it, the rest will be history into the mix. So that's what we had for Joshua Zirkzee, and we're waiting to see how things really pan out. But United are preparing to trigger, to trigger the clause of the guy known as Joshua Zirkzee, a player that I love die. Now, the new minority owner for the club of Manchester United, Sir Jim Ratcliffe, has gone ahead to speak about Erik Ten Hag, and I'm going to be bringing out everything he's going ahead to say about the side of Manchester United. There is Todibo, but I'm going to bring it in bits. Now, Sir Jim Ratcliffe, on the decision to keep Erik Ten Hag, he said, "We kept Erik Ten Hag because he's a good coach. He did well at Ajax. The man in the streets like to think that the coach is everything, and maybe it was in the days of Sir Alex Ferguson." He also added and said, We've had a whole series of good coaches since, and none of them have succeeded. The root of the problem is not the coach, it's the environment around him. That's what we are looking at, and we have to address that environment. Now, if you knew that was the cause, then why did you get United into that mix of obviously going into the end of season review, doing all your stupid stuff that really made Erik Ten Hag look like a clown? You understand? But these are the words that Sir Jim Ratcliffe went ahead to obviously make when he came into the club of Manchester United, and he was speaking to a certain cycling channel, and he was like, the problem of Manchester United is not the coach, the problem is the board, and they're trying to rectify it and see to it that all goes on as well. And he says, back at the days when the manager was everything, it's not how things really are done nowadays. And that is going to excite me, and I love it when someone makes a mistake and really acknowledges it and really makes it right, because we are all products of very many chances. If we ever gonna hate to make mistakes and we're not given second chances, then we wouldn't have gonna hate to be exactly where we are. You understand? But we are here where we are because we've gonna hate to make mistakes, and they've gonna hate to obviously give us a second chance in here onto the United Matters channel. So I thank Sir Jim Ratcliffe for obviously thinking twice about this and analyzing the real gist of the matter, that the manager has never been the problem in the club of Manchester United. Never has it been the manager. It has always gone ahead to be the people who really execute deals, and the problem they're really dealing with right now, where the problem was really put out, all set by the previous board of Manchester United, and that is the huge wage bill at the club of Manchester United. To an extent that when you look at a player like Brandon Williams, he was given a contract of £50,000. You understand? When you look at Rafael Varane, 300,000 plus. It said he was earning 330. Casemiro, £350,000 a week. Sancho, 350. You understand? That is huge amount of money that you shouldn't obviously be giving to a player. That's why Bruno knocked on the door and said, get me more money, because I work better than any of the people, and if at all you don't really get me more, I'm really gonna leave, because you are not really doing the needful. You understand? So they're dealing with the problems very well, though they are really delaying at a certain point, but I tell you, a lot is really improved. And I think they got first was sacking the CEO, and Omar Berrada is gonna come in through less than 3 weeks from now, 14th July. That's when Omar Berrada kicks in the offices of Manchester United to be the CEO. Then Jason Willox is the technical director. The sporting director, Dan Ashworth, he's coming in through if at all United finds a common ground onto his departure fee from Newcastle, and very many other people. You understand? And the interim CEO, Joan Cloud, is a man full of experience, and he knows exactly what he does. So I think they're going to have to get that right. Now, if they execute these deals very well, I know Manchester United will find themselves in a better position to even compete for the trophy. I reveal it. If we get in Zirkzee, maybe you get in a Gerard Braithwaite, you get in a Matthias De Ligt, you get in an Edson Alvarez, those 4 or 5 players in, Manchester United are really gonna be in a title race, I tell you. All we need is to keep our players fit, and the moment we keep them fit, nothing is going to stop us from obviously doing the needful as a team of the club of Manchester United, provided the recruitment is really great. So Gareth Southgate today has gone ahead to speak something in his post-match interview after England went ahead to draw with Denmark 1-1. It was Harry Kane who took the lead, and then is it Højlund, not Rasmus, the other guy called Højlund, into that midfield, took a shot, and it went into the back of the net. The goalkeeper was caught unaware. Kobbie Mainoo hasn't featured into that game, and obviously Gareth Southgate has said we don't have a natural replacement for Calvin Phillips. And this is how you ask yourself, now, if you thought Calvin Phillips was really important, why didn't you call him to obviously part of the squad? And Jordan Henderson was there. Why didn't you bring him in? You know, this is what makes you a coach, making decisions that are really great. You know, you once said before into the rules that Kobbie Mainoo is really a different kind of player, that England cannot resist really playing him, and he hasn't started any game. The game of Serbia, he played like 10-12 minutes, and now you are here saying you're shit. I told you Gareth Southgate is not fit for this job, because in any circumstance you can't tell me that Jude Bellingham is not far better than Calvin Phillips. I told you play him as a number 8. Declan Rice alongside that guy who will be something great. If you don't want to play Kobbie Mainoo, because people will say Kobbie Mainoo is still young, but I would play Kobbie Mainoo, Declan Rice, and the guy ahead of him as Jude Bellingham, or Jude Bellingham, Declan Rice, and Phil Foden into the middle of the park. But he comes to show you that he's playing what we call a crammed system. You get? He cannot really shift. Today I saw him really make lots of blunders, bring on Conor Gallagher. How do you bring on Conor Gallagher when you want to obviously win a game? You understand? And I tell you, with his execution, if he doesn't win the Euros, England should sack him. That is it. England should sack him, because he's a manager who doesn't know how to use his tools, and we all know that a bad workman blames his tools, and that's what this guy is all about. So guys, thank you very much for watching through. United to trigger Joshua Zirkzee's release clause. Your reactions to that are welcome in the comment section below. And Sir Jim Ratcliffe pronouncing himself on non-sacking Erik Ten Hag. Do you agree with what he's saying? And Gareth Southgate coming out and saying they don't have a player who is really better than Calvin Phillips. He had Calvin Phillips at the age of 19. He was not at that level. You get? And it shows you that he lacks trust for players like Carl Palmer and Kobbie Mainoo, because those players are hugely talented and they know exactly what to do. So guys, thank you very much for watching through. Smash the like button, comment and share. If at all you're watching us for the very first time, endeavor to subscribe to this channel so as not miss out on stories that we do upload in here on a daily. Second video is gonna hit to be done, recorded and uploaded, published, and how more is really coming in through. If I pray we will get in something important, a bid in, only here we go, pronounced by any of the prominent tier 1 journalists. I'm out. Juma Karim to the Muslims, because tomorrow it is